I know it's been a while.
Brady.
Hey, run that thing up.
Nah, but listen to me. The thing is if he shows out in the finals and they still lose, he can still be up there.
The Frenchman up there talking his language. We need to get this stop. No, it's you, and I still.
Brady.
In the East,
Yeah, can they get the stick around? Can they beat each other?
Hey, run that thing up.
What's good, everybody? YouTube family, the grade A family. Man, it's been a while, Musa. What up?
What's going on, man?
What's good, everybody, man? Thank y'all for tuning in, just for being here for another episode. Shout out to y'all for being here, continuing to support us. We appreciate y'all. We ask that y'all just continue to like the videos, the content that we drop, continue to share. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Musa, what's good, man? It's been a little while. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm good. Can't complain. Got a lot to talk about. You know, we had a great NBA season that came to a sad ending. Didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it is what it is, man. You know, going through the whole dreadlock phase, as you see, but it's all right.
Hey, I'm keeping my low fade, man. I'm good. That's why I stay with the do rag, man. I gotta keep the waves tucked. You know what I mean? But nah, man. Speaking of a lot going on, of course, as y'all know, we got to shout out the Oklahoma City Thunder for winning this year's NBA Finals. You gotta give them that credit, man. Got to give them that credit. It was a good series. It was a good series.
Seriously, most people thought. No one expected us to go 7 games, let alone Indy winning more than one. So we got, as real basketball fans, we got what we wanted, a great competitive series. It sucked the way the Game 7 ended, but oh no, we couldn't ask for a better series.
One thing too, I kind of wanted to throw out there. It was kind of like I feel like OKC is kind of giving these small market teams a lot of faith in the future with growing their teams like within the draft and stuff like that. It kind of just shows what you could do if you stay pat. You know, and you got some right GMs and other people in there kind of, you know, working the table well and stuff like that. And they did what they did. They let go a lot of pieces, you know, Russ and the KDs and the Paul Georges. And look what it got them. Look what it got them. As far as Indiana's sake, and that's another thing kind of like I kind of wanted to press on with a little bit with the injuries because we haven't been here since, the second round? It's been a while.
I think we spoke about the conference finals, but yeah, probably second round.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but Halliburton went down in that game 7, and I kind of felt bad. It was kind of good to see him push through that game 6. I was honestly surprised and shocked that he was looking the way that he was looking. But it's just unfortunate that, you know, we're not going to see him, the JTs, unfortunately, what happened to him in the next series. We know what happened with Damian Lillard, but, you know, the Eastern Conference is looking a bit wide open next season.
Well, I will say this season alone, we've seen at least, I believe, 7 or 5 to 7 torn Achilles injuries, which is the most they had in 20-some years. This was a abnormal season when it comes to those lower body injuries. Of course, you had Tatum, Dame, Highly, like you mentioned, but we also had Isaiah Jackson, and James Wiseman with their ruptured Achilles. Drew Smith from Portland. Hallie is also the third Indiana player to rupture their or torn their Achilles this season. So it's been unfortunate.
Damn, what you think? What you think is like the cause of that shit though? Like,
I
like
don't know.
I seen a post. Somebody was like, like, hey, should they shorten the season? And I'm like,
Well,
torn between the two. But I'm like, to avoid stuff like this, I would lean more towards a yeah.
to be fair though, the talks about shortening the season been around for like the last 3 to 5 years. The problem is with the shortened season, that's less money for the players. And I don't know if the players are going to really concede to making less money for a shorter season. The owners ain't taking less money. We know how the owners are when it comes to NFL or NBA when it comes to money. So I don't see that being a solution. I would love it, depending on the number. Like if we're going from 82 to let's say 50 games, I'm not really opposed to that. I'll say the lowest I'm looking at is 65. I'll personally say 72 games.
Yeah, nah, that's not bad. I think, and then it's crazy because they're including the things like the end tournament, the end season tournament, and stuff like that, which is cool. But we got players out there and teams out there that's trying to really get that award. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. It kind of sucks because we got we deal with stuff like this. I just hope that in the future and all the young talent that's coming in here, that these players just not saying the Halliburtons and the Jason Tatum's don't take care of their body, but hopefully they could put in a little bit more effort and work and stuff like that to just really maintain for a long season. Halliburton hasn't played this long in probably his whole career. This is the furthest he's ever been.
They've been, yeah. They also played an
So,
extra game this year.
and Jason Tatum, I mean, you think about it, he's been giving us consistency since he's been in the league and going far since he's been in the league. So I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a matter of time for it to happen, but it's just unfortunate, man.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do probably with the wear and tear on the body. These players are constantly playing 82 games. Someone like Tatum, who's going into the playoffs every year in his career, so he's playing probably more than 90 games per season. Then you add into the fact you have the FIBA tournaments every off year, and then you have the Olympics like they did this past summer. So it's a lot of wear and tear. A lot of people look at the shoes, like the low cut shoes, probably can be a reason. I don't know. No one has the answers, right? Adam Silver is speaking with some professionals in AI, I guess, to figure out what is the cause with the whole lower leg injuries. But again, it's unfortunate. I don't think we're gonna have a set answer. I think people's gonna have their own opinion on it. Right now, just trying to get healthy. If I keep looking away from the cameras because I got the draft, I'm doing double duty. Pace already
Oh,
knows.
yeah. We got the live draft going on right now. Round 2, man. Round 2.
My guy, Rasheer Fleming, is finally off the board.
Minnesota. I
I
knew it.
believe it's a proposed trade, so I think he might be going to Phoenix. Yep, he's going to Phoenix. So Phoenix takes him off the board, which I seen a report about that a couple hours ago saying they were looking to get him off the board. So this is a great pickup. Another 3-and-D wing who kind of fell out the first round because his name started picking up a lot of steam during the combine. So everyone expected him to go first round. I wanted the Celtics to take him, as you've seen in the private chat we had, but we're gonna get to Hugo in just a second and why I think that's still a solid pick. But Phoenix in the last 2 days, including the trade for KD, has done a phenomenal job retooling this roster, in my opinion.
Yeah, we could get to it because we got the draft going on live right now, round 2, man. Everybody tapping in. Make sure y'all like the channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we just reporting some of the moves that's being made. It was a lot of deals that was happening last night. I couldn't really keep up. But yeah, of course we know Cooper Flagg went number 1. I think that was projected from everybody kind of once we seen Luka get traded up out of there. But that roster, Musa,
Phoenix. I'm just
Phoenix still making power moves.
I think people's forgetting how good this team's gonna be. And I mean forgetting how good Devin Booker is. Because what's been going on these last few seasons, and especially last season where Bud had him more on the ball being a facilitator, which is Booker has the ability to do that, but we all know Devin Booker is known to get buckets. He's not known to be the lead facilitator of the team. He showed that he can do it, but I think to maximize his best ability is him being a scorer. And now you put another scorer with him with Jalen Green, and then you have a bunch of wing defenders like Ryan Dunn, brought in Dylan Brooks from the trade. Now you get Rashard Fleming, who's another 3-and-D wing who can guard 1 through 4. Elite athleticism, 7'5" wingspan. Then you had Kaman Maliwatch, a 7'2" center who can also stretch the floor. So people that don't know, if they watch the qualifier games this past summer when he's on South Sudan, he really shown how good he is to stretch the floor. He didn't really do that at Duke because he wasn't asked to, but he definitely can shoot the ball. So you got another rim protector. You brought in Mark Williams. He's a question mark depending on health. And you're rumored to move Nick Richards at some point. You also have Osol from last year's draft from Marquette. So I love what they're doing with the roster. Obviously, they just have to move.
I think they made some smart moves and some smart decisions, but I personally think Devin Booker, if it's not now, he needs to get up out of here. I would like to see him somewhere else besides Phoenix. I don't know. I just would like to see him have an opportunity again in the NBA Finals. He's already been there once. I wish it was them on the other end winning. Now you go. We got an update.
Sean's TV. That might be a track. I got to mute it for copyright issues. But
who the Celtics guy? I know they was next after Minnesota.
Now for the Celtics. Never mind. They traded the pick, so that's why Sean was on the TV.
For future draft picks.
Traded the 32nd pick to the Orlando Magic for the 46th pick and the 57th pick and a 2026 and 2027 second round pick. So they're going to make this pick, which is already in and is going to go to Orlando. Personally, because I thought before we found out the trade, I would love for them to pick up another big, even though it looks like Brad's going to try to re-sign Allen Luke. But the big man, I'm forgetting his name from Stanford. I like his game. It's rumored that the Lakers are trying to get him. He would have been someone nice to add on the floor. 7'2", 7'1" big that can stretch the floor. Pretty decent playmaker. So, but the pick's going to Orlando. So,
hey, I mean, you got 2 future draft picks, 2026, 2027, and you got 2 picks later in this draft. I mean, that's a win for sure on Boston's end. I mean, they got a lot more they can work with, a lot more moves that they can make. But let's get back to Cooper Flagg, Musa. How you feeling about that potential starting lineup? We got Kyrie that just re-signed the deal, exercised his contract, just re-signed. Daniel Gafford just re-signed. And Cooper Flagg's coming into town. You think they, potential finals runner? I ain't going that far. But this roster's looking all right.
As far as finals run go, they have the potential, but it really depends on Kyrie's health. Right now they're looking to get a guard. If I was Dallas, I would look at potentially Chris Paul, or maybe even
Chris Paul would be nice for that young kid over there.
And Chris Paul played his first time in his career at the age of 40. He played all 82 games in San Antonio. That's something to keep in mind. And every team he's been to, they haven't gotten worse in his career. And he's helped key players get better. Shea is one of the prime examples of that. You also have Booker. And Aiden had one of his best seasons when Chris Paul was there. And then you see what he did with Wemby and Stephon last season. So I would love to see someone like Chris Paul come in to Dallas and kind of help orchestrate and keep things afloat until Kyrie gets healthy and comes back. And the thing is with Chris Paul, he doesn't mind coming off the bench either. And I think he will help a Jaden Hardy, who's someone I'm still high on, that's in Dallas right now. But if you're looking for a scoring guard, I wouldn't mind them looking at D'Angelo Russell either. He could also be another person to come off the bench. But they have all the tools to be a top team in the West because of their defensive prowess. It's just that can they stay healthy? That 3 big line is going to be deadly with Lively, Davison, Gafford. And if this finals has shown you, if you have a 2 big rotation, you have high success with the elite wing defenders around them. And the 2 big lineup is back. I don't know what to tell people, but it's back in full effect. And I think Dallas has really, really high hopes right now. And Cooper might save Nico's job. I'll tell you that.
No, I definitely agree. One thing I'm just really interested in seeing is how Coop is able to adjust to having all that talent around him. I noticed that Dallas got a little scheme and a little system over there, but it's gonna look a little bit different implementing him into that lineup. So I'm interested to see how he could adapt. What I do love about him is that he's a very unselfish player, unselfish individual. He's not always looking to score the basketball. And that's what you got to appreciate sometimes about these wing players. He could do a little bit of everything, and I think he's going to bring a lot of value to that team. Just upon him, he's still got to grow and stuff like that, get his feet wet. But I think he's going to groom well, and I like him in that position because he got like the Kyries, the ADs, like those veterans around him that been there, done that could provide that energy and stuff
You know
like
where
that.
he's getting that from, right? You know what camp he went to, right?
Where
DJ Edgecombe, I believe Trey Johnson or Jeremiah Fears went to that camp too. I could be paraphrasing the last two names.
which
Jason
one?
Tatum camp.
Oh yeah. I did hear about that. Yeah.
The selfless play. Hoop. I think the reason why we had the conversation early in the year about him being generational, and I was about him being generational, is because of the things he's able to do with and without the ball. Obviously, he's not the most athletic wing or forward to come out the draft, but his ability to be an elite rim protector, whether it's just a pure rim protector or weak side help, his ability to be versatile on defense. He can knock down the mid range. He has good post footwork, decent footwork in the post, but he can play in the post, play off the ball, play on the ball, and he has a decent handle where he can get off the glass and push the pace. And in a pick and roll with him and Davis or Gafford or Lively, it's going to be deadly because he's 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", high arc on the jump shot. I love everything he brings to that team. And like you said, he's selfless. So I think his ability to just plug right into Jason Kidd's offense is going to be simultaneously. They're going to be able to go with some big lineups.
Oh yeah.
All lineups in the West.
Sometimes I could see Coop at the 4. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if they trying to run fastball, have him at the 5 a little bit, really quick. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see that happening. They got options.
And he's going to eat really good off of Anthony Davis whenever Kyrie does come back, because Davis is going to bring all that attention. He moves really well off the ball, so he can get the slip. They can play the high and roll game. Then you got
it's just like, yo, this shit seem rigged. You telling me that these dudes had a 1.8 or 0.8% chance to get the number 1 pick with that roster, and you get Cooper Flagg is just kind of wild.
I love a lot of the picks that came in the first round. Some of them was questionable, like really, really questionable. So I had my biggest winners and losers in the draft so far. But yeah, I love the pick. I think it was a no-brainer with Coop going to Dallas. Also, Boston picked Noah Penda from France, the forward, so he'll be going to Orlando.
See, here's my thing. Here's my thing when it come to the Celtics and their draft picks. I'm not, I don't know the kid. I've never seen any type of tape from him, only besides of what the hell they put on a draft on the TV last night.
Oh, referring to Hugo from the Hugo Gonzalez.
Yeah. So, my thing is, I feel like that's for like a lot of teams. Like, of course, it depends on the roster that you got, the roster size, like the coach. Like, a lot of teams is only using 8 to 9 men. Playoff time, we're talking about 6 to 7. But I just would like to see Boston just, develop develop is the wrong word. Just utilize their pieces a bit better. Given, unfortunately, that Jason Tatum's injured now, I'm expecting to see a lot more Jordan Walsh. Guys like JD Davidson, he's been around for a very long time, and I like to see him get his get his feet wet a little bit. You know what I mean? So shout out to that pick. I hope it's a good pick. I hope it works out. I just would like to see the team utilize those players more.
I think, to your point with the utilization, I think Hugo's going to be one of those players that gets a lot of early minutes early in the season and plays.
What's he, 6'6"?
He's 6'6" guard. Now, if you people that look at the stats, he averaged like 3 points, barely a rebound, 2 rebounds at most. And people will look at the stats and kind of cause the pause, and rightfully so. But him only played about 11 minutes on Real Madrid, which is one of the best teams in the Euro League. And he's on a roster with 10 former NBA players, one of them being Serge Ibaka. for him to even still get 11 minutes on that team is impressive.
That means something.
And when you watch his tape, people said some of the reports was his shooting was a question. But when you look at the tape, his form is not bad. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. It's just he doesn't get a lot of shots. And a lot of times when you see him shoot the three, he's getting it on a catch and shoot where it's like a grenade. So it's like it's hard to really gauge into his percentages when you look at how he's getting the shots. But he's going to fit right in with Jalen, Derek White, and Tatum when he comes back, and Al Horford, especially because he moves without the ball. He's a high motor guy. He plays defense, and I think it's a great pickup because you got rid of Drew Holiday. So now you add in someone like that who doesn't give up on defense, hustle plays, which Boston fans is going to love that, obviously. I'm a Boston fan, but I'm not one of the biased ones. I'll be honest.
Everybody always thinks a Boston fan is biased, no matter if you're a Patriots fan, Celtics fan, Red Sox, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Fans gonna love him when he gets the minutes and he's adjust to the pace because European basketball is not the same when it comes to the NBA. I believe he's gonna be able to get minutes off the bat. I'm curious to see if he plays in the summer league because it seemed like Brad was already trying to get him out of Spain the moment they made the phone call. So I really want to see what he does in the summer league if he does play. Yeah, but I think the pick is solid. I know in the group chat I was like Hugo because I didn't know much about him, so I had to do some research after the pick. But I really wanted Fleming because I just thought Fleming was just the perfect person that's going to fall in our lap, which he did, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Also, since we're still on Boston, before we get off of Boston, because I get tired of talking about Boston, it was reported that we was trying to get Fleming at 32 before he got picked up by Phoenix with the first pick in the second round. So that's probably why we just end up trading back because it's like, all right, the guy we was hoping to get.
Yeah.
So
I didn't think he was gonna fall to round two. I thought he was gonna be on the back end of round one. But I felt that because that you said the Minnesota pick ended up going to Phoenix. Damn. Yeah, Phoenix has been working. Another team I want to bring up that's kind of been working in the draft is our old GM, Danny Ainge in Utah. I want to shout out to Ace Bailey. I know we've been talking about Cooper Flagg and these other guys, but we got two Rutgers guys that came out of the draft in the top 5. Dylan Harper went to the Spurs and Ace Bailey went to Utah, but Utah had a pretty good day yesterday.
Yeah. Utah did really well. Obviously Bailey didn't work out for Utah. Other teams, Danny Ainge and his son didn't give a damn about that. We've seen enough tape. We're bringing you in anyway. You're gonna put on the jersey. You're gonna play, and we're gonna leave it at that. And I said in the group chat, so I want to put it on record now because if it does happen, you heard it here first. Just imagine next year's draft, Utah gets the number 1 pick, and AJ Diaspora goes to Utah. He's already in BYU this upcoming fall. He went to Utah Prep. People love talking about how things is rigged and all this stuff. Don't be surprised if you have it. AJ Diaspora, Ace Bailey movement going on in Utah. I mean, Danny Ainge was able to pull it off before with Tatum and Brown getting those elite wings and / guards. So just don't be surprised if that happens. But all in all, back to your main point, yeah, Utah had a great draft, in my opinion. Ace is going to produce. I like Will Riley from Illinois. I think he's just someone that's going to plug and play. He just hooper. He don't not a well nonsense. Just plays ball, 3-and-D kind of guy. But yeah, I love what they did in that draft.
Yeah, Utah did pretty good. I guess I'm gonna throw out some names that kind of like not gonna say it surprised me, but I was looking forward to these kids getting drafted. I say these kids like I'm that much older. These guys getting freaking drafted, and Walter Clayton, excuse me, coming off of that national championship win. He's also going to Utah, if I'm correct, right? So yeah, Utah was wilding out. And Nick Clifford, Nick Clifford. I didn't really get hip to him until watching the tournament last year. But him going to Sacramento, you got Zach over there, somebody that he could kind of get some guidance from and learn from. I honestly think that he's already NBA ready because I believe he played an extra year.
Yeah, I think he's a 5th year.
He played an extra year in college. So, and then I don't know what's the status on DeRozan, but
they're trying to move off his contract apparently. Sacramento's in shambles. I love the pick to your point. If anyone needs to get traded off that team, it's Sabonis. They wasted Sabonis away.
Let me ask you this: if Sacramento was looking for Jaylen Brown for Sabonis, you make the move straight up?
No. That's when I become a Boston bias fan. No.
Nah.
I said it for years. I'm not moving on. I'm keeping until it's time. When Mother Nature comes and hits, I'm keeping the Jays together. Me used to go back and forth when we had the Jays and Marcus Smart, and I was like, I'm not moving on for Smart yet.
But that was a little bit different because it was a lot involved, and I think what really
is I've been on this train of keeping together since then. But
I talked to one of our family members about it, and I was telling them, I'm like, what, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna sit here and blame really anybody for how these players developed. At the end of the day, they still won a championship. I wish Marcus Smart was there, but I feel like as young as they were and when they came into the league, going against the maturity of talent that they did and getting also groomed up by a immature coach. And I'm not saying immature as in a bad way, but Brad Stevens went from Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, Al Horford, dudes that's kind of been running the game before Brad got here. Now Brad finally got some young dudes, and it's kind of like, all right, you almost got to kind of let them in and let them do their thing. So
to be fair, IT had his best year with Brad.
But that's because I feel like he had to let IT loose. Like ain't nobody telling IT shit.
Well, I think that's IT. I think IT had his first real breakout year statistically. Was in Phoenix. I think it was the guard trio. Yeah. Him, Dragic, and Bledsoe. And then he finally got moving, finally got to spread his wings with Boston. But to your point, I agree. I understand your point overall, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, but enough of the Celtics talk, man. This ain't a Celtics podcast. We ain't gonna stay on them too much. Other than that, it was a pretty good draft. You got any other names you want to kind of throw out there that kind of you liked or you was pretty fond of?
Winners. I've been high on him since he was playing for the Bahamas, but VJ Edgecombe, him in Philly. Hey, you see how Gilly and Wallaby, well, mostly Gilly, be talking about them Eagles with DeJean. For those who ain't ready, get ready because he's gonna do the same with VJ. He gonna love VJ Edgecombe and his intensity and energy. He's just a hooper. He's the most athletic player I think in this draft. Great defender, 6'4", 6'5", can jump out the gym, nice jump shot. Can develop more on that.
What you think they're gonna do? Because we already know Maxey is starting. What you gonna think they're gonna do about what's his name out of Duke from last year?
McCain will probably come off the bench still like he did last year. I know he started a few games, but he'll probably come off the bench.
Potential 6 man of the year candidate early in his career.
Yeah, they might start him and put VJ on the bench. We'll see. Depends on what the coaching staff wants to do over there. But I love that pick. Colin Kneppel is a great pick for Charlotte. My only problem is he's in Charlotte. And until I see some type of consistency, I'm kind of hesitant. Although I'm high on Charles Lee. So I think he's going to be able to hold him more accountable like he tried to do last year, despite all the injuries. But I think Colin's going to be a great foundation piece for Charlotte. But my main winners will probably be San Antonio in Phoenix. The fact San Antonio was still able to get Dylan Harper, because they could have took anyone else. But you add Dylan Harper, you still got Fox, you got Stephon. You don't have to rush to move him. But then you still get Carter Bryant. So I just love what they're doing with Nucleus. So I'm really high on them.
It's still good to see these teams like the San Antonios, just teams like that specifically that like we know that their roster is coming with some firepower next season. And again, what OKC did, I feel like they was kind of like the start of it, where you kind of you got to work for the future, you got to build for the future, and it worked out for them. And I think San Antonio is still, I think they got a lot of top picks in the drafts in the years to come, and stuff like that. So definitely looking forward to their build moving
Speaking of
forward.
one of the dumbest trades that happened, which is I'm just going to talk about the losers, the Pelicans and the Nets, but mostly the Pelicans. You traded 10 spots up and got rid of your unprotected first round pick in next year's draft.
Yeah, at this point, I think New Orleans just need to move back to I don't know. They can't go back to Charlotte, but they need to go somewhere else. I don't know. That organization is just
And when Lou put in the chat about Derek Queen getting drafted, I loved it because I love Derek Queen's game. But I'm iffy on the fit in New Orleans because he's another undersized big. How's him and Zion going to play next to each other? Then that defense is going to be something nasty, like not in a good way either. Like I love Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, but it's only so much some of those players can do. It's 5 people on the court. You can't rely on just 1 or 2 defenders.
yeah.
What their motive was with all of that.
I think when it comes to just New Orleans overall, I'm kind of just like at the point where just their whole organization is just, I don't really think nobody wants to go there. And their development, just clearly we see what's been going on with Zion since he's been there. Part of it has to do with him. Part of it, I got to put on the organization too, man. But DeJounte Murray, I heard, is not really too fond of being there. So and we heard that Jordan Poole just went there too. So
I think Poole's going to be good for them. I think once Murray's healthy, I think he'll be come back with a better, clear mind because he was, from what he said on the Pivot podcast, along with some of the things that was going on in the organization, he just was going through a lot personally. So I think him having some time away to kind of clear his mind, kind of turn a new leaf. I think he'll be good once he's back. But yeah, I don't know what New Orleans is doing, but I do know what one team is doing, and that's Sam Presti, because the rich gets richer. You just sit at 15 and get Thomas Sorber, from Georgetown. Now you got Dallas, like we talked about earlier. That's with the 3 big rotation. You got a 3 big rotation right here potentially. You can kind of sit him like you did your last lottery pick. The point guard, I'm forgetting his name, who just got a ring and he didn't even play all. He got a ring without playing the whole season. He was out, but he should be playing in the summer league. But now you add another rim protector, elite rim protector at that point. He can guard pick and roll a little bit for the most part, and then having him learn under Mark Dagnall, Hartenstein, and Chet, like they just they just keep. I'm really high on Thomas. I just don't know. He's probably not going to play as much early on, which is expected because you still got Jalen Williams there, not J-Dub, the other Jalen Williams. So. Yeah, but I love the pick for the OKC. Miami get who they wanted at 20 without moving. Kasparis, the guard from Illinois, is a 6'6" guard. So now Bam got someone he can finally play with on the pick and roll. That's a facilitator because, Tyler's more of a scoring guard. So that's a good pickup for Miami. But
yeah, another team I wanted to throw out there was the Nets. They had a couple extra picks from like some foreign guys I wasn't really too familiar with, but the 2 names that were kind of cool. I know the Hawks drafted Drake Powell, and then he got traded to Brooklyn. And I heard he was like pretty much a standout in the combine, not the combine, the workouts, the pre-workouts and stuff like that before. And also Danny Wolf. I didn't think that he was going to go early out of Michigan. I didn't think he was going to go early, and I didn't think he was going to go first round at all. But it was kind of good to see him get picked up and stuff like that. I think he could provide a pretty good, he'd probably come off the bench a little bit, but he's a solid, what is he, like a 4 maybe? Wouldn't really put him as a 5.
Stretch 4, stretch 5.
Yeah, so
I don't really know what's Brooklyn's motive because you had 5 first-round picks. You kept all 5 picks.
And Cam Johnson, he hasn't resigned, right?
I think he has one more year on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, you didn't really do him much service. You got pretty much a lot of players that are just gonna give him the ball.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know where they're going with identity wise. So I'm curious to see. The good thing is the beauty about this is the players got to go out there and play, and we'll see how things go from there. As far as currently though, Johnny Broom from Auburn, the center, has been picked up.
Oh wow, I forgot about him actually. Where's he going?
He's going to Philadelphia. He's an undersized center, small, really small center. That's a solid. It's a good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not too big on the pick.
I don't really care about it too much, but it's just just to see what what he him last year and stuff like that. It's just good to see him get picked.
Yeah, shout out to him, but he has a lot to work on. He's definitely a project for Philly. But Ryan Kalkbrenner, the center from Creighton, got picked up by Charlotte, the 7-1 center. So Sion James, the guard from Duke, also went to Charlotte. So right now we're on Detroit, but it looks like the Brooklyn pick they just made for Adu from Arkansas is going to the Lakers, which is good because the Lakers do need another 3D kind of wing, especially with it seems like Finney Smith is going to be declining his option and become a free agent. So you definitely going to need some more size at the wing position for the Lakers. But
got a lot of moves going on, man. But while the draft is still going, let's get to the NBA trades that's been going down since the off season started. It kind of like hit us like right after the season ended. OKC won. It's like boom, we right out the gate. First trade we had was Desmond Bane gets traded to Orlando for Contavious Caldwell Pope and Cole Anthony and motherfucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first round draft picks. Boy, oh boy. You think that's a snub? I don't know. I don't know.
This day and age, when you see Mikal win for 4 or 5 draft picks, nothing like that surprises me at this point. I will say I think him going to Atlanta is a good pickup because they definitely need help shooting. They were one of the worst.
I love it. I love it for him.
He goes to a team that needs his best value, which is shooting the ball. So that's great for him. I like the pick for Memphis too. I mean, you get Caldwell Pope, who had a down year, but comes into Memphis probably with a new energy, new sense of motivation. So I think that will help. With the West, they were still competitive in the West, so I think they will still be competitive. I'm just trying to figure out, does Desmond Bane move the needle for Orlando?
It moved the needle as far as like what?
Getting them out the East. And that's what, and considering they gave Boston fits, despite them losing this in the first round, they gave us everything they could. They just couldn't shoot the ball. I'm thinking Boston's obviously going to be in the mix. Cleveland's going to be there. New York's going to be there. And then you have
Detroit.
If healthy. Yep, Detroit. And if healthy, Philly should be back in the mix. Orlando can be a team to come out the East this year. Will they, though, is the question. But considering with the injuries and stuff, obviously the Boston's going to have that championship pedigree. They're going to be competitive, but obviously they're not going to be at full health. So that opens up the door for a little bit for like Orlando to kind of creep in and finally get over the hump and get some more deep playoff run experience. And Desmond Bane has some playoff experience, so I think he should be able to help them in that regard.
Yeah, I definitely think he brings, let's not get it twisted. I ain't even talk about Caldwell Pope, but Cole Anthony brought a lot to the table, but I just felt like there was a lot going on with Suggs, and they had Anthony Black there recently. Cole can't really get his stuff off like I really would like him to in Orlando. But Desmond Bane, I think he is going to definitely be a good fit for Orlando. I just don't think maybe like you said, past the second round. I could see that happening. Playing in Boston, that's kind of missing a couple pieces, and stuff like that. And it depends. It depends. I mean, we kind of see. I mean, anything could happen. To be honest, Indiana was a 7 seed
This
or
year,
yeah, or a 6
it
seed,
was a 50.
5th seed. Okay, still not in the top 4 and was able to make the finals. I mean, when's the last time we had that? Maybe no. Was Denver number 1 when they went?
The
I
year
don't
they,
believe so. Okay, but yeah,
the year-
I think they'll get over the hump. Maybe next season, depending on who they end up playing. But I'm not putting it past. There's gonna be a lot of fight in the East. The Hawks are still gonna be there. I mean, you got
That's like
Porzingis.
doing. I know you, Jacob, all y'all Georgia boys are like the Hawks, but I actually do like some of the moves they've been making. And
I do. I always pray for health when it comes to players. If Porzingis is healthy, I love the move.
it'll be so ironic that he has his most healthiest year. The year we move off.
It'll be like here's the catch though. I think the way that Joe Mazzulla and the organization kind of utilize Porzingis coming in there, if teams start treating him or other players like that, I mean, you'll get that longevity in the back end.
Fair enough. I believe too. The reason also I would love to keep him and Drew, but I was more sad to getting off of Drew because of the locker room presence and the defense. The reason why I was so sad about moving Porzingis was because he wasn't really healthy for us majority of the time when we needed him most. And also that wasn't his doing. I think we would have had a better chance of going 7 against the Knicks if he was just healthy. I don't know what illness he had, but it was winning. It was a knockout in the first round. That illness he had against New York. I think if we had a healthy Porzingis with the team we still have without Tatum, we probably would have won 7 potentially. But it's hard to say because the way New York shot that ball in Game 6 and played, I don't know what could have stopped that. So I want to give him that flowers for that. But yeah, if he's healthy, you have him at the 5 who can stretch the floor. The pick and roll with him and Trae Young is going to be phenomenal. Then you have him at the back end rim protector. That's going to even be Dyson Daniels, who are already elite perimeter defender. Now he gets some help on the back end because he could be even more aggressive on the perimeter, knowing he has a 7-3 shot blocker behind him. And you still have Jalen Johnson coming back from injury. And Zachary Richardson showed flashes last year. He could be really, really good in that rotation as a starter. He's only going to get better. So I like Atlanta. I would not sleep on Atlanta at all next season.
Is it fair to say Porzingis is probably the best big that Atlanta had since Al Horford and Millsap, maybe? Because it's been a long time since they came into a pivotal big.
I think you could say that because technically Jalen Johnson plays the 4, but with this era they wouldn't necessarily call this 4 a big, depending on the size. So I guess so. Yeah, you could probably say that.
Moving on to the next trade. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier in the show, but just for everybody watching, if you're just now tuning in, we talked about Kevin Durant a little bit. Getting moved to Houston. Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks going to Phoenix with a couple picks and all that stuff.
Hey, my dog Cam Jones. My bad. Cam Jones is going to San Antonio. Start from Marquette. I like that. Congratulations. But as you were saying, I'm sorry.
Nah, I mean, we good, man. Everybody tuning in, man. We got draft night 2 live right now. Moose is holding it down with some of the picks and stuff like that. But yeah, we was chiming in with a little bit with KD and that move and stuff like that to Houston. I know we talked about Phoenix quite a bit of how that's going to benefit them with the draft picks they got and all that stuff. How does this KD move you think is going to just benefit himself and then benefit Houston?
Well, for one thing, it benefits Houston because it goes back to what Clips was saying when we went in the playoffs, where we had the dispute with Houston and Golden State in the first round. The reason why he had Golden State was Houston doesn't have a closer. Now that changes because now you got your closer. But I want people to realize KD is not 29, 31 years old. Like, he's up there in age. He's still damn good and efficient, but I want people to realize not to put all the amount of pressure on him because he's only
I mean, he still is a 50, 40, 90 like
no,
guaranteed.
absolutely. But that 50, 40, 90 looks a lot different now than what it was maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, he has lost a step. But he still helped. He's still not a negative for them on defense. So that's a plus for them. He's also someone that, like I said, is a closer. So that helps. And I love that they were able to get him and not have to give up a lot. Like, yes, I would love for them to have developed and kept Jalen Green, but you had to get rid of something. You got rid of Brooks, which I wish they would have been able to keep Dylan Brooks. But now you add KD, you still have you re-sign Fred, you still got Jabari, you still got Sengun. You still was able to keep Ken Whitmore, which I'm surprised Phoenix didn't ask for him also. You got Reed Shepard, so now that kind of helps him get some more minutes. Tari Easton's still there. So you have a really good team. And I think the odds are, I think they're the second team favorite to come out the West or to win the championship. I'm not sure. But I'm more likely believing it's the West. But I like the move for them. Obviously, he has familiarity with Ime going all the way back to Brooklyn. Also, Royal Ivy, someone who was his former teammate in the league, was also on that coaching staff. For those who don't know who he is, they had a little back and forth, friendly back and forth, of course, during the Olympics when they played South Sudan. So he has good ties there. It's official. The first original Big Three in OKC has all played in Houston with Russ, Harden, and now KD.
Damn. You know, I think I thought I seen something about that, but I kind of just like swiped right through it and stuff. Damn.
So
That's crazy.
That's kind of funny to see. But no, I love the move. But I think I love the move of both teams because Phoenix also now kind of rekindles their roster, like I mentioned earlier, and they get some more draft capital, which is they drastically needed after the moves they made. But like I said, now for Phoenix's side, they just got to find a way to find a trade partner for Bradley Beal, and I think they'll be just fine.
I was gonna say I feel like they definitely got to figure out something with Bill. I think they should keep Green and Brooks together. But yeah, as far as Houston's side, I think the fact that they were still able to keep all those pieces, I did want to see Dylan Brooks stay. The fact that they was able to keep all those other pieces still around, because Houston's at a stage right now where they're trying to win now. Especially with Ime there, they seen what they was able to do last year, and it was kind of perfect to plug in and obtain that KD stature, given off of how that series went down and go to state. Now, yeah, I agree. KD lost a step. We ain't dealing with the same KD. But what Houston has around him, he's not going to have to really worry that much. Now, like I was saying, if you could utilize KD, like, yeah, we know KD loves the game of basketball, is always trying to hoop. But if you could kind of manage him, and, I don't really care for load managing, but if you can manage the guy till the playoffs, we talking something different when it comes to Houston when you're talking about a full-fledged healthy KD.
And I forgot to mention, because his name was slipping me, they didn't have to give up Amen Thompson either, which was huge.
Yeah. That just adds more ice into the cake.
If Amen, he has been from photos I've seen. If Amen even if he gets a consistent mid-range for next season, because he's working on a 3-point shot too. If he gets the mid-range, that's going to open it up so much more. And I think the game adding KD is going to just open it up more. Let's go! Yes, my dog Elijah Martin got picked up.
Where's he going?
He's going to Toronto.
Yeah,
that's so clean too. That white on white. I like it.
I'm not. It ain't nothing against Jalen Green, either. But I do like the fit of Fred VanVleet running that offense over there a lot more, than having to deal with Jalen Green on the other end too. But dealing with a veteran, you got a veteran with another veteran at that. And I just think he's a better fit at the guard position for Kevin Durant, specifically. So, I love the move. I know a lot of people kind of, KD's bouncing around from team to team. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's the game of basketball. It's the business. And when you give these guys the freedom to do and, what they want to do and feel free to, Listen, I'm good here. Let's have a mutual conversation. If it ain't working out, let me move on. So it's good that they have the ability to be able to do that, so they always could go somewhere like a KD to have a chance to win, regardless. So
I think at some point this upcoming fall during the season, Fred's probably going to come with the bench at some point, and Men's going to get the full reins.
you think he's gonna be at the one, like running?
I believe he will. If he keeps the handle tight and keep working on the handle, he can definitely run the one at some point.
I mean, let's not get it twisted. They was in AAU, I mean, rocking out and controlling everything. So I won't be surprised. I know the NBA is different, but I won't be surprised.
Yeah, man. I love what Toronto's doing. Bringing Elijah Martin, feisty, another little small feisty guard like a Jamal Shed, who they have now on that team. Bringing Elijah Martin. Now you have Colin Mullen, CMB, who I don't know if he wanted to go there, wasn't really the best fit, but the dude is the great defender. The only thing he doesn't do well is shoot the ball. If he does that, all bets is off. He's definitely gonna see minutes early in that Toronto rotation off the bench. So I'm loving what Toronto's doing. That's actually another team I wanted to talk about as far as the East being open. I think Toronto makes the playoffs this upcoming season. I could see them getting to the second round.
I would like to see Brandon Ingram healthy. And I think he will be, because there's a lot more on that team. He doesn't have to be like doing everything like he did in New Orleans and stuff like that. So I agree. That I forgot about them.
I think Toronto will be a playoff team with Jakob Poeltl. You have Brandon now. You still have RJ Barrett, which I heard rumors that he might be a trade asset for a team. But even if he's not, you have RJ, Brandon, Scotty, Emmanuel Quickly. I like Jamal Shed, as I mentioned. Now you add Colin to the mix, who you drafted last night with Elijah Martin, Jakob Poeltl. I like that team in Toronto to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got a lot of depth there. They got a lot of depth there. The next trade, and I kind of, we don't have to talk on the Drew Holiday side, because I feel like Drew Holiday is going to be moving on somewhere else for the summer.
He is actually.
You think he's going to stay?
I think Portland wants to keep him because they ended off the season on a really, really good stretch where they could have almost made the play-in. And I think adding a veteran presence like Drew and a defensive mind with those young guys can kind of help them get into the next step to make the play-in, potentially make a playoff spot. So
it just sucks because I heard that he wasn't really too fond of, even from before, like 2 years ago when we got him from there, he wasn't too fond of it. So, like you were saying earlier, like Porzingis, I get it because he was, not healthy really. Drew Holiday been dealing with injuries since he's been with us too, not as much, but he also had a lot already, a lot of boots on the ground in Boston too, doing a lot of things for the community and stuff like that with his wife too. Right. So that kind of sucks. But Anthony Simons, we obtained him. How do you feel about that move?
I think it's a good move considering we was able to get off the
money,
get under the apron. So I like the move, and he's a scorer. We're gonna need someone to score the ball. Like, it's hard to replace 27 or 30 points a game with Tatum. He can come in and give you 20, 22 a game. He's really good in the pick and roll. He's not a good defender at all. But hopefully with the system that we have in Boston in place, him being with Sam Cassell, Mazzulla, and that crew, maybe he improves on defense. And if he does, that's even a plus for us. And we're playing with house money because now we have his bird rights, so we can give him a friendlier contract extension because his contract ends at the end of the season. As well as George Niang, which I know we're going to talk about that. He's a part of that Porzingis deal. But yeah, I like the move. You pair him with Derek White. I would love to see how his playmaking becomes because the way we move the ball around, he's going to get easy shots, especially from the three because he's someone that chucks up the three a lot. And you're going to a team that's known for doing that. So it's a kind of a perfect fit for him. But I like the move all in all to get off of Drew Holiday's contract, which you usually have to pay him like 35, no, for 35 million each of the next 4 years. To get off that contract, to get someone that's young, probably just scratching that prime potentially, and is an elite scorer the way he is, I can't say enough about what Brad was able to do with that trade.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I didn't watch Portland too much, but I'm well aware of Anthony Simmons and stuff like that. That defense.
Oh,
I mean, I think that's pretty natural for him. I mean, you mentioned the other day just him grooming with Dame too.
oh yeah. If you watch the clips on Anthony, you see a lot of Dame influence there. I've been familiar with his game since he was at IMG Academy, so I've been watching him for quite a while. But he has developed a lot since he's been in the league, so that shows his work ethic is there, which I think he would probably come into Boston could buy in to a defensive mindset.
Damn, I didn't know in the New Orleans Pelican deal and the Washington Wizards that Kelly Olynyk is going back to Washington.
Oh yeah,
CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk gets traded for Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey. Me personally, I didn't give a damn hoop and holla about this trade, but
I remember in the group chat everybody was like ill and all that. But when I did the digging on the contracts and everything, I actually loved the move.
it was just more for like CJ and Chris Middleton. I'm like,
Well, Chris Middleton already had picked up his play option, which is a no-brainer because he's older in age. He's probably going to get a contract close to that amount yearly again, depending on how he plays this year and if he can stay healthy. So you pick up your player option. Same with you take McCollum, who's also going to be expiring contract. You have Marcus Smart on an expiring contract. You move off of Jordan Poole. Now Jordan Poole can open up the pool party again and have some gumbo waiting for people to get out the pool.
man, don't touch that gumbo out there, Poole.
And then you got Sadiq Bey, who's another good 3-and-D kind of guy. Can stretch the floor. Once he's healthy, can help New Orleans a lot. I love the move for Washington because now you got, like I mentioned to you guys in the private chat when the trade went down, at the end of this next season, Washington's going to have up to $110 million of cap space because of these dead contracts being moved off their books. So now it's going to allow you to potentially sign a big name player in the free agency next offseason, along with your young stars right now who's developing, like a Bilal, Alex Sarr. I love Bub Carrington and AJ Johnson. Plus, you just picked up Trey Johnson. So I think the future is bright for Washington. I'll see them being in the conversation for playoffs maybe the next 3 to 4 years, if that, depending on how the players develop.
Yeah, no, I could definitely agree with that. And then we touched up on Kristaps going to Atlanta. It was a 3-team trade with Terrence Mann, Gorgeous Nang coming to Boston. I wish we could have got Terrence Mann in that deal instead. But I'm not too sure like how the contract worked out with that and the money and all that stuff. But
I think with Terrence, I think he doesn't have an expiring contract. And I think that's probably what it was. I think Brad wants the expiring contract so they can free up more cap space to get people for the next offseason to help kind of continue retooling the roster.
Yeah,
it's not great. He's a good defender.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty much a gap year. Like Brad Stevens is doing things properly. I think when when Tatum comes back, he'll have 1 year left on his deal and stuff like that. So like you said, I'm hoping they can re-sign Luke Cornett and Al Horford, given with the departure of Porzingis. I know we still got Cater there and stuff like that, but just plan for next season. Just plan. I think they definitely do need to be still competitive. I think they still need to aim for the playoffs. I think they'll still be there. Just plan for next season.
Charles Mazzulla's best coaching. This can be one of his best coaching jobs. What he can do with this roster, because obviously it's not what he had last 2 seasons, but it's still not a bad roster. Which is why I still said people don't call it a gap year because obviously we like to be championship or bust. But I think they're still going to be well in the mix overall.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Well, we know we got the draft still going, man. Everybody tuning in, we appreciate y'all for being here, man. Just enjoy the rest of the draft. NBA season's over, but we will be back with some off-season episodes. We got the summer league coming up. We got heated debates coming up and stuff like that. So y'all stay tuned. We also got the grade A wrestling still going. And then football season's right around the corner. So y'all get prepared for that. All right.
Yeah, it's almost that time. It's that time to start making those predictions.
Yes,
7
sir.
weeks till the NFL season kicks off.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all like the channel, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate y'all support and y'all love. Peace.
Grade A.
Hey, run that thing up.